Yeah, no pressure. But it's okay. I'm a lion, and you're going to hear me roar. So it's good. If you remember from last year, I do not like wearing shoes. So once again, I will take my shoes off because they're sweating. I have a foot problem. And I, too, cried last year, and it's okay. You know, you asked us, Marilyn, to write down on our Breathe card what we are taking from the power trip and what this has meant to us thus far. And I wrote down that being vulnerable and sharing my vulnerabilities with women whom I respect, I hold to a high standard, and that I really appreciate and value. So thank you to everybody here for making it another year and coming around the table and allow ourselves for a few minutes just to let our hair down and be who we are and what we're meant to be as a leader, a woman, a mother, a friend, an aunt, a sibling. So thank you for allowing me to speak today. Oh. So a few of you, we were walking around today and yesterday, and I hope that I'm going to open up my phone for a minute. I've broken the cell phone rule a couple times. My cell phone did not go in the bed this year on my TV stand. But there were lots of signs around Miraval that really rang true, and I knew a couple of us when I was walking, saying, I love these signs. I was taking pictures, and a few of us talked about bringing them back into our district and just how good it would feel when we're walking through our hallways, our buildings, and for example, one sign, very simple, be kind. Gift yourself with your presence, and that's really hard to do. Believe in yourself. Life is what you pay attention to. Walk as if your feet are kissing the earth. Feel your feet on the ground. Look up, be inspired, and invest in yourself. I press the green button? All right. So Bill George is a Harvard educator and kind of coined the phrase authentic leadership, and this is just the definition that I like to use. There's lots of books out there on authentic leadership, but really when we say that we're authentic leaders, and I know we've used that term before, to be authentic really means to be genuine and real and to allow the people around you to see you for who you are and what you believe in. So I want to stick to this theme of authentic leadership. The journey I want to take all of us on today is through 4 parts, is defining our purpose, acknowledging our hurdles, identifying our strengths, and then being authentically ourselves. Part of who we are as our purpose has been shaped since the moment we were born. If you remember my story from last year, I was adopted and I was given to my birth biological family the second I was born out of the hospital. And the man on the left is my father. If you remember last year, I shared the story when I cried about my mother who died and my teacher that was my inspiration that helped me become the educator I was today. But if it wasn't for the man up there, I wouldn't be standing here today. My biggest cheerleader, I have probably, my sister thinks I'm sick, but I have like 97 voicemails that I've saved on my phone. And they're all of my dad, from calling me and saying, hey Lisa, call me back, I just drove by your house, or I went to the store, I got broccoli rabe, I got sausage, I got some bread, like little things like that. So I encourage you to save those voicemails of the loved ones because we're gonna really cherish those one day. And then my family, my husband Mike, my 5th grade sweetheart, whom I wrote a love letter to, which I still have, framed on my wall. All the women in my life, my family, my sister-in-law here in the yellow, so that's my family picture. The women that I love so dearly. This is funny. These women in the middle here are all my high school friends. They're my babs. We are badass bitches. We get together more than one time a year. We go to Charleston. This year we're going to the Isle of Palms, and we rented a home, and we make it a priority to make sure we're there for each other every single year. This was when the prince got married, I can't remember who, to Meghan Markle, and we all made fascinators and probably drank too much wine and had the best time. They know that they're in this presentation, and they were so happy. And then there's my dearest friend, right there. I can't talk about you or I'll cry, but you know what you are to me. And so before I came today, I'm going through some things, like I'm having some changes in my life. Stop it. See, I told you I cried. All right, get your act together, Lisa. So she brought me today to this happiness session, and I didn't know what it was about. We talked about the different chakras and trying to feel things, and, just made me think of other things that are going on in my life and just to be present. So I'm going to continue to look up and be who I am. Thank you, Kimberly. Who doesn't love her? Going back to our purpose, just take a moment to read this. You want to leave your footprints where you go. So many of you have said such wonderful things. Last night was so beautiful by the pool. And I thought, I should have taken a picture and sent it to our CEO, but no one wants a picture in the bathing suit at night. But it was just lovely, seeing everybody come together and talking about who they are. So let's not ever forget to leave our marks wherever we go. Kathy Hurley talked about her book, and if you had a chance to get her book yesterday, she's got little nuggets of wisdom in there. And if you just take the time to find these things, this is so true. She interviewed hundreds of women, and women said that they can attribute their success to another woman in their life. And I think we can all agree we could find that one person. So I want you to think for a minute and share with your colleagues at your table, and who was that positive woman role model in your life that helped shape who you are and what your purpose is. So just take a minute to reflect, think about who she is, and share, please, with your friends. Okay. I would like to encourage somebody just to share who a positive woman role model is in your life, and why is that?
Yeah, at our table, there was 3 of us that said, Kim. And I said 3 years ago, I hated women with a period, ! Because I had so many bad experiences with women and working for them as I started this journey as an older teacher coming into it. And I hated women, period. And I said, when I met Kim and she actually asked me to come to this conference 3 years ago, I was like, well, no way, because I hate women. And I don't want to be in a room full of women. And it's amazing how she has helped and modeled for me just an amazing positive, how positive I can be, how impactful I can be, and how amazing all of you women are. And it's amazing in 3 years what you have done for me, because I never had a positive woman role model, and that is you. So thank you.
That's beautiful. I love that. That's beautiful. I'm going to move on. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being vulnerable and allowing yourself to be there. I think sometimes we guard ourselves when we're in such high, powerful positions, leadership, wherever we are, that we're sometimes afraid to let our hair down and show who we are. And crying doesn't mean you're weak. It means you care. So thank you. Here's probably one of the hardest things for us to do, is to acknowledge our hurdles. We have these internal hurdles, women, that we do to ourselves, which is unkind and unfair. Some examples of here are saying women will complain about everything. You'd be so much prettier if you wore makeup. That's a man's job. I go through internal hurdles, and I literally just said to Kimberly before I put this t-shirt on, which says, my story is, I can't read upside down, is still, I can't even read it. I know what it says, and I love it. My story is still being written. I said, I can't wear this shirt. I've got fat rolls. I literally said that. She goes, will you shush? This is exactly what your speech is about. But it's true. We do this to ourselves. Why do we do this? I can guarantee you that everybody in this room, if you didn't do it today, you're lucky. But we did. I want you to think about, you don't have to, you could write it down if you want, or if you want to share and you want to be vulnerable. What is something you said to yourself today that wasn't kind? sorry you did that. I don't know why we do that to ourselves. It's not, and the man today we talked about that vulnerability and why we say that to ourselves, those voices. And even though we do that, we still have to carry on and persist. We have societal hurdles that we have to overcome. I mean, this is great that the women leaders and CEOs we kill it when it comes to production. We outperform men, but we're still not there. This is so true. That statistic, almost 7,300 superintendents, 71% of them are all men, and a lot of them are named Bill. There's research on it, I'm not kidding. More societal hurdles. This is so true. The size of our waist has nothing to do with my worth. The fact that I'm in menopause or post-menopause, I track my period, I haven't had it in 997 days. I never had a shape like this. But yet every time I walk by a mirror, I say to myself, oh, who is that? My husband doesn't love me any less. My children don't look at me any weaker. It's myself. Look at that. 13 thoughts about our bodies each day. This is an amazing book, and I've got some quotes on a card that I shared with you, but it has a chapter on like the bikini industry and what it's done to us as women and how it has shamed us to think that if we have curves and, according to my daughter, she's 18, big asses are in. So this is in. I'm not kidding, Marilyn. I'm now fashionable. But this is what goes on with us, and we need to figure out a way to not do this to ourselves. There was a survey that was done with over 750 women in organizations, and here are some of the thoughts that came out of this study. I'll just give you a minute to read that. I think we do put more pressure on ourselves than men do. I'm giving a presentation on Thursday when I get back, and somebody I used to work with who was a male, he was my boss at one point, and Kimberly knows, made it his point to tell me all the time how much smarter he was than me, and I wouldn't have, I can't even, right? Like, you did this because I put you in this position. Not that I didn't earn it. I went to college for 13 years, for crying out loud. But I'm ABD, I'm almost done with my dissertation. But to work for somebody like that, I mean, I knew my worth, I knew who I was, I knew I was strong. When you have a 9 board of education ask me to run the job search for my role when I resigned, it was telling me that, you know what, I am valued, and I don't need to listen to you. So I'm giving a presentation on Thursday, and he was coming, and I knew he was coming in my audience because he told me, not only am I coming, but I'm going to get my current company to buy your company. Not kidding, he's not coming. So, you talk about this, like the masculine role. How many times have you been in a meeting surrounded with a lot of men, and they come in and they talk about football? They talk about the games that we're on. I can't tell you how many times, like, I'd like to come in and talk about Moroccan oil shampoo and conditioner, but, I mean, that's not going to, like, no one's going to pay attention to me. I mean, like, enough is enough. I mean, we need men in this world, I get it, but we didn't get here because of men. We got here because of the women that empowered us and made us find value in who we are. I have this is on your card on your table. And this is, we need to do this. We need to trust our body. We need to be kind to ourselves. You are enough, just as you are right now. Your joy matters. Please tell everybody that you know. You are worth every moment that you're here. Now we're going to identify our strengths. So this is another little nugget, pearl of wisdom from Kathy's book. I don't know why this happens. why just as about we're to propel, sometimes things make us stop. We need to find out what that is and continue to move forward. Who said you had to fill his shoes? I think we tell that to ourselves, especially if we're taking over a leadership role after a man. No one expects you to fit in anybody else's shoes but the shoes you have on your feet. So I want us now, think about the things we talked about, right? Defining our purpose, identifying our hurdles, overcoming them. We have to flip the script. If you could go back to your younger self right now, knowing everything that you know, what you've done in your career, that what you've had to put up with, think about what some of you had to endure. How many people here have been ostracized in their public communities because of their values and belief system as a district leader? Scrutinized for being brave, right? What would you say to your younger self? What would you say to that 6-year-old little girl that you know your value and worth is today? I want you to think about that. And I want you to write it down. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to think about what you would tell yourself about how proud you are and what your greatest strength is. When we're that age, which I would love to stay in, we think that we're the best thing in the world. We have no inhibitions. We have no fear. We speak our mind, and we do everything, and we try everything, and we take risks. And then something happens to us, those societal hurdles come, pressures that we feel, the need to make it and accept other ways that have always happened, and listening to that male voice sometimes. But what would you tell yourself? Does anybody want to be vulnerable and share what they feel one of their great strengths are that they would tell themselves, their younger self? Yes.
I had an imaginary friend, and her name was Shauna. And I'm sharing about my imaginary friend publicly. And so my uncle, he destroyed her. But anyway, that's another story. And for me, it was all about my imagination. That was my most authentic value. And now that I think about it, even though my life did not move in a ascension way where it was step by step by step, I am doing the virtual learning. I am doing something that most people could not even really think about or imagine. And I am impacting 7,000 students daily, but it takes imagination and it takes courage. And as I get older, with 3 kids, and college is not too far off for them, sometimes I see myself stepping back because I have to be stable. I can't take as many risks because I have people who are depending on me. And so there's a piece of me that wants to be that 6-year-old and have that imagination. And I used to make people serve Shauna, and I used to introduce Shauna to the room and not have any fear of what anyone would say. So that is the piece I think I miss.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Anyone else? You're halfway up. You got it.
Since we're all crying, you really got me when you put that picture of that little girl up there. Because I do often think about that little girl. And I would tell her,
I promise I'll get there. Hold it for you.
you are going to one day stand in the gap boldly, strongly, and unapologetically for others who can't for themselves the way you need and wish someone would for you now. You will impact people's lives, period.
Thank you. Thank you. So important that we remember this and allow people to know that this is inside of us and find those women that will lift you up. And we have to do this. We have to turn to that self-critical part of ourself with kindness and compassion and thank her for the hard work she has done to help you survive, because that's you. Owning our own story and loving ourselves through the process is the bravest thing we'll ever do. And that's why my story is still being written. And I can change it whenever I want. I love this t-shirt so much that I bought one for somebody out there. So whoever has the card that on the back has a star. Oh, it better be out there on the tables. You have it? You have a t-shirt. You're welcome. Yes. Yeah, you're welcome. Now it's time to be ourselves. And last year when I played a song, a lot of you didn't get up and sing. That is not going to happen today, Marilyn. Okay? We'll get to that in a minute. One of the most important things, I think, is making sure that we remember to be empathetic for ourselves and always be kind to who we are and what we stand for, and don't ever waver for anybody else. This was a dissertation from a woman in New Jersey, actually, and I just love this quote in her dissertation. I'm going to read it because I think it's important to hear out loud. The concept of women supporting other women without question can be challenging for some. I don't know why. What I do know is that we each have a responsibility to pave a way for others, to forge new paths, and then to reach back and grab the hands of women who continue to struggle. We then need to pull as hard as we can, wrap our arms around those ladies, and bring them along for what can be an amazing ride. And Marilyn, you have created an amazing ride for this room full of women. So for that, we are thankful. Let's not forget about connections. You are not alone. Again, trust your body. Lead with passion. Lead with purpose. Know thy worth. Be proud of who you are, because you are a champion.